All right. In this video, I want to talk about swearing or cussing. Now, I always found this to be very strange that Christians, they'll listen to somebody who obviously is provoking and prodding and instigating conflict, right? But they're not cussing, right? They're not swearing, so it's okay. And there's people who can be manipulative and lying and covering up true doctrine, preaching false doctrine. And it doesn't irk them or irritate them as much as somebody saying a swear word. I just find this very strange. And the context of this video has to do with my responses to Brian Dellinger's videos about the flat earth, a YouTube user Born Again Barbarian. He made two lengthy videos about the flat earth, not really about the flat earth, because they didn't really get into the evidence supporting the flat earth or disproving the flat earth, and nothing about supporting the spherical earth or disproving that either. Is just him talking. And then he made two other videos after that, one about 4 or 5 minutes, other one about 6 minutes long, basically saying that the flat earth is like a psyop, and the people who believe it are militant and angry, and the strife, it just shows that it's not of God, right? So he is being very dismissive. He's covering up the actual truth because he's not actually getting into the evidence for the flat earth and disproving it. He's just dismissing the whole idea, and he's also instigating and provoking people who believe the flat earth, where he'll sit there and say, oh, if you believe in evolution, you're not saved. And then he gets mad at people, not me, but people who believe the flat earth, saying that, oh, well, then if you don't believe the flat earth, you're not saved. And he's getting upset at those people. And then he turns around and says that they're not of God. So that kind of implies that they're not saved because they believe the flat earth, right? So you get this manipulation going on and obvious provoking and instigation to try to get people to react in a certain way so that you can dismiss them, right? It's a simple debate tactic, right? Where people who don't want to discuss things, because when you discuss things, guess what happens? You eliminate errors, you eliminate lies, and you reveal the truth, right? But when you debate, you pick a side and you defend it at all costs. So you have to defend it even if it's not true because of your pride, right? So what is one thing you do to try to win an argument when you're wrong? Well, you try to provoke your opposition to act emotionally or angry, right? And when they do that, you're like, look at that guy. Look at that lady. Look how they're acting. Obviously, God can't be with them. Obviously, they can't be telling you the truth. I mean, look at their character. As if that proves if what they're saying is true or false, right? It's kind of like if I told you 2 plus 2 is 4, but I said it very mean, very angrily, very forcefully. Or if I said it with some cuss words, right? I swore when I said it. I said 2 plus 2 is bleeping 4. Oh, does that mean it's not true? No. You see, my attitude, my character has no impact on the truth. It just makes me look bad, right? But people are okay with these stupid debate tactics, manipulation, instigation, lying, false doctrine, and they don't care. They really don't. As long as you don't swear, it's okay, right? But if you preach the truth and you say a swear word, well, you're just dismissed. But you can preach a lie without presenting any evidence. As long as you don't swear, okay, you're upheld, we're going to hear you out. It's always just mind-boggling, right? Like giving an aneurysm to think about it. How Christians can get upset over a word. And in this case, I don't even see it as really that big a deal. Not a big deal at all. And the only reason why I'm not using the word, at least right now, I think I'm going to use it by the end of this video just to clarify what I'm talking about, is because I get, okay, people are offended by it. They don't want their children to hear it. But I got a question for you. Would you let your children read the Bible? I mean, let's not even talk about, do you let your child use the internet by themselves on their phone or their tablets and listen to their own music? Who knows what they're really listening to and watching, right? But let's say, you monitor that. Would you let them read the Bible? I'm assuming you would. Now, if you let them read the scriptures, they're going to read some interesting things. Some things about violence and rape and child sacrifice. Some pretty graphic things. There's just one thing I wanted to bring up as an example here. Not getting even into the Song of Solomon. There's some graphic things in there. But we have here Ezekiel chapter 23 at verse 20. Now, of course, let's shrink this here so it fits into this little screen. We use the King James, so it says here, "For she dotted upon their paramours, whose flesh is as the flesh of asses, and whose issue is like the issue of horses." Now, if you're not sure what the Old English, with dotted and paramours, well, that's why I have these other translations up here, right? Like the NIV, she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions were like that of horses. This is scripture talking, right? So you let your child read through that? Would you let them read the book of Ezekiel? Hmm? I'm just wondering, because if they look up what the words mean in the Old English, or they already know what they are, they're going to be like, "Whoa!" Right? Is that too graphic for them? The scripture's too graphic for the children? When God says, "Hey, don't forbid them to come." I always thought that kind of stuff was weird, because if you grow up on a farm, or even in the city, you can see the stray animals, and yeah, you can see their genitalia, and you can see them go at it, right? So you know about those kind of graphic things, and you kind of get the idea as a child what men and women do, right? You might not completely grasp it, but you start to put it together as you get older without anybody having to tell you, because you see it, right? Yet these Christians are offended by one simple word that I said. Where I was talking about Brian Dellinger, and I think I said the word, okay, if you don't want to hear it, here's your time to click off or mute it or something. I said his bullshit. Yep, that's what did it. That's what now offended people. They don't want their child watching it and all this. It's like, wow, but you let your child listen to somebody who's very prideful and instigates people to react emotionally and provokes them using these childish debate tactics, because he doesn't want to actually get into a discussion about this and reveal the truth, right? That's okay. And the scripture's talking about some pornographic things. That's okay. But you can't say, again, I'm going to say it, so plug your ears. You can't say shit. That's so weird. Because if I said bullcrap, you wouldn't care. If I said bull poop, you wouldn't care. Bull turd, you wouldn't care. But since I used a word that means the exact same thing, but you just don't like it for some reason, it's bad. It's wrong. I don't want my child hearing that. That's just very strange to me. Very strange because it's not even a big deal unless you make it a big deal. When I was growing up, my dad didn't make a big deal about saying, I'm going to say it again, plug your ears, shit, because he said, yeah, it's just like saying crap or turd. It's no big deal. So it was never a swear word growing up. It was just a word that meant crap, turd, feces, dung, right? But for some reason, some people make a big deal about it. And they make a big deal about this word that is harming nobody, right? But not a big deal when Christians provoke and instigate conflict, where they ignore evidence and not actually get into the discussion, and they just provoke headbutting, where they cover up the truth and they're basically lying and manipulating people, and you don't care. Your kids can sit through that because nobody's saying this bad word you don't like. You're a hypocrite. And I'm gonna cuss again, so watch out. You're full of shit. Now, if you are truly mature, right, then you'd be able to eat the meat and spit out the bones. I'm not a perfect man and don't claim to be. And I'm sure even if I didn't swear at all, which I don't really consider this swearing, then people would still find some reason not to listen, not to hear the truth, right? This just gives them an excuse not to accept what is being said, right? And that's what people will do, right? They'll judge the messenger. Or I'm trying to tell everybody 2 plus 2 equals 4, and that if they don't want to accept this truth, what are they going to do? Well, let's find some kind of flaw in him. Look at the way he dresses, right? His attitude, he got a crappy attitude. He gets authority problem, or who is he? He doesn't have an education. You find any reason not to accept the truth, and in this case, it's because of a word that was used, right? And it's just an excuse, a reason to dismiss. 2 plus 2 is 4. But you said 2 plus 2 is bleeping 4. Oh, you can't be telling the truth. You said bleeping. Okay, well, it just shows your lack of maturity there, where you can't accept the truth because some word just triggered you, and now you can't focus, and you're into this emotional state now. And yeah, that was pretty easy to just get you off the trail and get you distracted. But yeah, I guess that's about that. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, you should be screening the things that your children are watching anyway before they even watch it. Or you should be watching it with them. That's how my dad was. Things that I was watching, he would either have seen it before he even let me see it, or he watched it with me. So when things came up, he could explain things to me. Like if there was a movie or TV show where somebody was saying F bombs, right? I agree, that's cussing, that's swearing. I'm not going to drop F bombs in my videos because I do see that as inappropriate. my dad would explain to me, some people, they use those words, but I don't want to hear you saying those things. When you go out in the world, you're going to hear people saying that, right? Like you might be going to the store, you're gonna hear somebody cuss, right? You can't control that, but what you can control is how your child understands it and what he does when he hears it, and he knows not to copy it. Just like you go in the world, your daughters are going to see ladies dressing very provocatively. What can you do about that? Well, you tell your daughters not to dress like that. They can do what they want because they got the freedom, but you don't want them doing that. And if you see your sons, they're looking, you teach them about lust and how they're going after what they see, but they don't know how these girls really are, how they would use their bodies to manipulate them. And you teach them about that kind of thing because you can't control the world around you and the things people say and the things people do. But you can teach your children why people are doing it and why you don't want them doing it. Right? So you can get on me about my language. Okay. You can use that as an excuse not to listen. Okay. I may try not to use those words just so you don't have an excuse, but I'm not going to be heartbroken and beat myself up if I end up saying those words, and if you get upset and don't watch my videos. I'm not really worried about it, right? I know God has people out there who have a clean language that you'll accept, and those will be the kind of people that reach you. Those are the kind of people you'll talk to. And I know I'm used to reach a certain kind of people, right? We're all one body, but different members, right? I might be the bottom of the foot that's stepping in all the dirt and all the, prepare your ears, plug them, the steps in all the shit so that, I get all dirty and messy and whatnot. And yeah, to the rest of the body, I look filthy. And in some cases, rightfully so. But, it is what it is. But everybody has to do their job, right? There's a part of the body that is, guess what? It's the butthole. Yep. And that's pretty messy, right? It's pretty gross. Probably look down on that part of the body, right? But somebody's got to be the butthole, right? And I just think it's weird that I can say butthole, plug your ears, but you can't say asshole. But I can say you're a hole of an ass. It's just weird. People just find reasons to get upset and to dismiss. And this is a distraction, really. It really is. But I just wanted to address it because just to share my thoughts on it. I mean, it's just weird how people get upset over some words. It's weird, very weird. But yeah, I guess that is that. Pretty sure I got the point across. Just kind of delaying, making sure there's nothing else I wanted to say. But yeah, that seems to be it. Thanks for watching, and take care.